that unless we, the legislature, take action, unless the Republican leadership calls us back into session to have a special session on the expulsion issue, Representative Durham will be entitled to a lifetime pension. To me, it just seems obviously unfair that the people who are identified in the Attorney General's report as having been victims of harassment should, as taxpayers, now have to foot the bill for a lifetime pension for their harasser. Luckily, because Representative Durham has not yet served 4 years, we in the legislature have the ability to convene a special session on the expulsion issue and prevent him from receiving a lifetime pension. But only we in the legislature can do that. Unless the Republican leadership steps up and brings us together for a special session, we will not be able to address the pension issue, and regardless of what the voters do, Representative Durham will be entitled to a lifetime pension. That's clearly unjust. With that, I'll take any questions.
Have you discussed this with Speaker Harwell?
I have not. I know that up to this point, calls for a special session have been rebuffed, and so I just thought it was important to raise the pension issue because I have not seen it fully addressed. So I'm putting it out to the public. The public needs to understand that we have the power here in the legislature to address Representative Durham in special session and expel him. If we choose to expel him, he won't get a pension. If, on the other hand, the Republican leadership chooses not to have a special session, then they have chosen to allow Representative Durham to have a lifetime pension. That's the result of that choice.
Just to clarify, is it because he wouldn't have reached the 4-year mark? And if theoretically, if he had been expelled after the 4-year mark, would he get the pension?
I believe he would.
Okay.
I believe he would. It's not the nature of the expulsion, and I can tell you, I have not looked at that specific legal issue. What I have looked at is the pension. I got TCRS materials to establish that you need 4 years for vesting, and I've given you an Attorney General opinion that establishes that Representative Durham's term runs from the November election to the November election. So regardless of what happens in his primary, he is still serving out his full 2-year term, which will complete 4 years to vesting. So the point is, the reason what I'm saying is correct is because if we expel him before the 4 years are up, it just happens that he has not served the full 4 years, and so the expulsion will have the effect of denying him his pension. We might face a different situation if he had served a different period of time, but this is just how the law has aligned with what's going on.
How much money? What do you think it's going to take for people to listen since last week Republican leadership even said that they weren't planning on holding any sort of special session?
Well, you know, I'm hopeful, and I appreciate you all being here today, that when the public and the Republican leadership are aware that a decision to not have a special session will grant a lifetime pension to Representative Durham, I'm hopeful that the public will see that as a complete outrage and will demand a special session so we can address this issue. So I'm hopeful that the fact that only the legislature can act to deny Representative Durham a pension by expulsion, that fact will persuade the Republican leadership that we have to come back. You know, there's been some talk about leaving this to the voters. Here's the problem. The voters can decide whether or not to re-elect Representative Durham. The voters do not have a say over whether or not he can get a lifetime pension. Rather, we, the legislature, the members of the House, have that decision in our hands, and we need to make the decision. We need to come back in here in special session and expel him in order that he not receive a pension.
Does a special session have to be before the August primary? Are you open to having it in September where you might be able to get more people that are less concerned with their primary campaigns to come up for the week?
First of all, I think it's a matter of great importance, and so, you know, our first duty is to the voters and not to our campaigns. So actually, I think we should have a special session next week and address this immediately, and that's just part of our duty as representatives. But be that as it may, I think the key is to have an expulsion proceeding before the November election, because only by expelling Representative Durham before he served a full 4 years will we ensure that he does not obtain a lifetime vested pension.
How much money is it?
I believe, you know, there are COLAs involved. I believe it's approximately $75 per year served that's your monthly pension forever.
Okay, because this is here, I just want to make sure I understand this, the writing here. So 55 per year plus the COLA.
Plus the COLA, the cost of living adjustment
Right.
has increased that amount over time. And my understanding, although I defer to the retirement system, is that currently a legislative pension is a monthly amount of approximately $75 for every year served. So it would be 75 times 4 every month for a lifetime.
So 70, okay. So we're talking $300 per month.
Yeah, and I would defer to TCRS for the precise amount for his particular pension.
And does that change, would that be adjusted for inflation over time in the future?
I believe it's all subject to COLAs, so it would go on forever. And I think, many taxpayers in Tennessee are not privileged to get any lifetime pension. So I think they would be disappointed that their tax dollars were going to the lifetime pension of somebody who the Attorney General has accused of harassing, tens of people, multiple people.
What's this legacy plan? There's a hybrid plan and a legacy plan.
My understanding is the legacy plan is a plan that is inapplicable to Representative Durham because it applies to people that served in past years. It's not applicable. It's not my writing, but that's my understanding of how it works.
Well, given all that, how hopeful are you that Republicans will want to call this session when, in the end, they probably feel it looks bad for them to expel one of their own in the election season there in early voting time?
I don't know. It may be that Republicans think it looks bad for them to expel one of their own during the election season time. At the other hand, I think that many of their voters might view it as looking bad for them if they choose to allow someone who has been accused of multiple counts of harassment over a long period of time to provide such a person with a lifetime pension. The key for every voter to understand is this is absolutely within the power of the Republican leadership to make this determination. The Republican leadership can choose to allow Representative Durham to have a lifetime pension, or they can choose to convene a special session on the expulsion issue. It's a very clear and stark choice, and they'll have to make the determination what they want to do.